welcome to Nick Studios.
Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Alright? So let's get started.
Hi, welcome back to my channel. So, today's topic, we are going to discuss Unit 6 again, but in different scales. So, what do you think for the next scales? Is it or is it No, it is grammar. So the topic for today is we are going to learn passive voice. So let's get started. So today we are going to learn about passive voice 1 and 2 in Unit 6 Time Out by Miss Ernie. Okay, so basically this is a grammar lesson, and I know maybe some of you maybe it's quite hard, but when you learn carefully and when you learn precisely, you can understand easily for this topic, right? So we move on to the next slide. Alright, before we look what into passive voice more, so we have to know what is passive voice is about. So a passive voice basically is come from the active voice, which is we change. So passive voice means that a subject is a recipient for a verb's action, and then we have active voice. So active voice means that sentence has a subject that acts upon the verb. So basically the original formula for this is for active voice we have SVO. Alright, so this is the original formula for active voice. We have the subject, we have the verb, and then with the object. But in the passive voice, we will change the we will change the position, and then they will change into the object in the front of the sentence, and then the verb, and then the subject. Alright, so basically they change the position, and then it makes the sentence become passive voice. Alright, so next one. Okay, what is the difference between active voice and passive voice? So active voice is when the subject of a sentence performs the verb's action. We say that the sentence is in the active voice. Sentence in the active voice have a strong, direct, and clear tone. So basically we have the like the formula. First we have SVO, we have the subject, and then what the subject do is a verb, and then the object and the direct object of the sentence or phrase, of course. Sorry. So the next part, passive voice, that is active voice. So what is the passive voice? Passive voice is when the subject is acted on by the verb. The passive voice is always constructed with a conjugated form of to be plus the verb past participle. So basically we will look into the more into passive voice, what is the formula, and then after that you can understand more about the passive voice. Alright, so still confused? It's okay, we will check one by one. Okay, next one. Okay, let us see the formula for the passive voice, how to change the active voice from passive voice. Basically you can see that the formula is a subject. When you change from the SVO, right, the original for the active voice is SVO. So subject, verb, object. But when we change that, we can see that subject at the object is at the front and become the subject of the sentence. So this is the formula. Don't be confused. I wrote subject because in this formula the object at the front become the subject. So when the object become the subject in the passive voice, so it must be at the front. So basically the subject or the original one is object, this is in the active voice. Active voice we call it object, right? So object we will change to this become the subject, and then after the subject and then we have to put verb to be. Verb to be, you know, the is, are, was, and were. So you must know what is verb to be, alright? So the next one is the verb. The verb must become the past participle. Okay, we look into the example. Okay, the first one we have here, we have the active voice. Wait. Change the color. Okay. So here we have the active voice. Example, this is passive voice. So from the active voice, we have the subject, verb, object. Okay, the first one is Sulaiman bought a bag. Okay, that is the normal sentence or active voice. So Sulaiman in the active voice is Sulaiman is the subject, and then bought is the verb, and then a bag is the object. Okay, when we change to the passive voice, okay, when we change into the passive voice, you can see that the bag from the active voice, the object become the subject. All right, so the bag become the subject of the sentence or the phrases. Okay, the next one is we must add after the subject. Remember, after the subject we must add verb to be. So verb to be is was, because we know from the verb we know that bought. So bought is past tense. Okay, so verb to be must be in past tense too. So but how we want to know how to put the singular or plural verb to be. So we see the subject again. So subject is singular, so it will be was. Alright, so verb to be here will be was. Okay, so and then we must put the verb. After verb to be, we have to put the verb. So the verb is must be in the past participle form. Cannot be in past tense or cannot in present tense. You must be it must be in the past participle. So bought, the past participle for bought is also bought. Alright, so the last one is the agent. Okay, from the here Sulaiman here from subject become the agent. So a bag was bought, we must add by Sulaiman. It's not a bag was bought Sulaiman. A bag was bought by Sulaiman. We must add the word by. Okay, so that is the first part. Okay, so you have to understand how to change active voice to passive voice. All right, so we move on to the next part. Okay, so let us see the overview for the past tense. So this is a simple past. How to change the from active voice to passive voice. Okay, we have the first one is simple past. Okay, simple past here. So the active voice is Tom, which is the subject, clean, verb, the house, which is the object. So the formula for the simple past is here. Okay, you can see the subject or the object itself from the active voice. Don't be confused with subject and the object, because in the active voice the subject is the person and then the object is the thing. But in passive voice the object will be the subject and then the subject will be the agent, right? So this is the formula for the simple past. In the passive voice, the formula is subject plus subject plus verb to be and then plus past participle. Okay, all right, you can see. So how to change this from this to this? Okay, we have to look at the formula. So first one, the subject. Okay, like I said, in the active voice, object will be the subject. So the subject in the passive voice would be the house. All right, so the subject will be the house, and then we have to add verb to be. Then we know that from the active voice, this is a past tense, so it was, and then the house is only one. There is no many house. It's not the houses. If the houses, you have to change to were, because there is plural. And then past participle clean and then by Tom. All right, so that is simple past. for the passive voice. Alright, so let's we move on to the past continuous of the past tense. Okay, the first one is Sarah was writing the letter. Okay, so please students not to be confused, because this is the first one is about past, so we have simple past and the past continuous tense. So the first one is Sarah. We have Sarah was writing is the verb, and then the letter is the object. So basically the formula for the past continuous tense is this: subject plus verb to be, subject plus verb to be plus being, and then plus past participle, sorry. And then what is the difference between the simple past and the past continuous? So in the past continuous we add the word being, right? So remember, we will add the word being here. So that is for the past continuous. So what is the answer? How to change the this one into this one? Okay, so we see the answer. Okay, so like I said, the active voice, in the active voice, when the object become the subject in the passive voice, so the letter will become the subject in the passive voice. So the letter, the subject, was the verb to be, because the letter we have only one letter, and then being, we add being, and then the past participle for writing or wrote is the written. Okay, by Sarah, by the agent, by Sarah. Okay, so understand? Okay, we move on. Okay, the next one is the present. Alright, so the present is almost similar to the past, but it have its difference. Okay, so don't be confused. Simple present tense and simple past tense. Okay, so we take a look. The first one, simple present. So simple present, as we see the active voice here, we have Tom as the subject, cleans as the verb, and then the house as the object again. So after we change from active voice to the passive voice, so the object will become the subject. Okay, good. So in the passive voice, the object will become the subject. So the formula is here: subject plus verb to be plus past participle. It's just the same with the simple past, but that is different. Okay, the first one, how we want to change is first the house, and then will become the subject because it's the object in the active voice. The house is the verb to be, because this is simple present, so the verb to be has to be in present tense. So the verb to be is. Okay, and then after the verb to be, we have to put past participle, cleaned. So the past participle for cleans is cleaned, and then we have add the agent by Tom. Alright, so understand? Okay, good. We move on to the next one is past continuous tense. Okay, so for the past continuous, we know that past continuous sorry, this is not past continuous, this is present. Okay, sorry for the mistake. This is present continuous tense. So basically in the present continuous tense, for the active voice is Sarah is writing the letter. So basically the present continuous, we add the verb to be, and then we add ing for the verb, right? Okay, so we change the active voice of the present continuous to the passive voice. Alright, so look at the formula. We look at the formula. You have to remember the formula. Okay, for the formula for the passive voice for the present continuous is subject plus verb to be plus being plus past participle. So the formula is quite the same for the like the past continuous. Alright, so subject the same. So we change the active voice to passive voice. Alright, so okay, the first one, which one is the subject in the active voice. So the subject in the active voice is the letter. So in the passive voice, the letter is the subject, the letter. Okay, next is verb to be. So the letter have one, and then we in the present tense. So the verb to be is present, is. Alright, so the verb to be is, the letter is. Okay, after the verb to be, we have to put the word being. Okay, that is for the present continuous. We put the word being, and then after put being, we put the past participle, which is written. Alright, written. So is writing, we change into written because we want the past participle of the verb. Alright, and then we put the agent, which is Sarah, by Sarah. So the answer is the letter is being written by Sarah. Okay, that is for the present tense, right? So far so good. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, this is the future tense, simple future tense of will. So this simple future tense will focus on the will. Okay, let me see the simple future tense for the first one, for the active and the passive voice. Okay, so simple future tense, we have the word will right in front. So the active voice will sound like Tom will clean the house. Alright, so Tom is the subject, will clean the verb, and then the house is the object. So again, in the passive voice, the object will become the subject. Alright, so okay, look at this formula. So the formula for the passive voice for the simple future tense will be subject, which is the object in the active voice, subject plus will be. Okay, we plus the word be, and then it becomes the will be, and then plus past participle. Alright, so let's change. Okay, so the answer let's see. Okay, for the first one, subject, which one is the subject? Okay, in the active voice, we have the object is the house. So in the passive voice, the object become the subject in the passive voice. So the house is the subject, and then we add will be, and then we add will be, and then we add the past participle of clean, then become the cleaned, and then by the agent, by Tom. That is the answer. So the answer for the active voice, Tom will clean the house, and then for the passive voice, the house will be cleaned by Tom. Okay, so let me take a look for the simple future of will for the future continuous tense. Okay, let's take a look for the active voice one. Sarah will be writing the letter. So this is the active voice form. So the active voice form is Sarah will be writing the letter. So Sarah is the subject, and then writing is the verb, and then the letter will be the object. So again, like I said before, the letter or the object in the active voice will become the subject in the passive voice. So we take a look for the formula. So the formula will be subject plus will be plus being plus past participle. So the subject, we add the will be, and then we add being, and then we add past participle. Okay, let's take a look for the answer. Okay, so the first one is the letter. The letter become the subject in the passive voice, but it is object in the active voice. Okay, so the letter, we add the word will be, and then we add the word being, and then we add the word past participle for writing. Okay, the past participle for writing is written by the agent, which is Sarah. Okay, the letter will be being written by Sarah. That is for the future continuous tense. Okay, that is will be for the future continuous tense. Okay, so let's we move on to the next one. Alright, so this is the future simple future tense, but we are going to see the be going to. Alright, so the first one, simple future. So simple future, let we take a look at the active voice. So the active voice, the subject will be Tom, and the verb to be is, and then going to. So this be is actually is verb to be. So it will change. Tom is the verb to be if the many people. Okay, many peoples are. So basically we take a look, either is singular or plural. So Tom is singular, so we use is. Going to clean. So the verb is clean the house. Okay, so we take a look at the formula. Okay, for the simple future, for the passive voice, for be going to, the formula is subject, which is the object from the active voice, and then plus verb to be plus going to be plus past participle. Okay, it's quite long, so many formula, right? So it's okay, you can take a look video and try to learn by yourself. Right, so the passive voice. Okay, the subject in the passive voice is the object in the active voice. So the object in the active voice is the house, so it become the subject in the passive voice. Alright, so the house is the subject. Okay, the verb to be, the house is what? Is singular. So we use is. The house is, and then we add the word going to be. Going to be. So here, going to be. And then the past participle for clean is cleaned. Okay, by the agent. Okay, good. Okay, let me see the next one is future continuous. Alright, so let me see the sentence for the active voice. Okay, Sarah is the subject, is verb to be, going to be is going to be, writing the verb, the letter. Okay, so this is the formula. So let's we take a look for the how to change into the passive voice. Okay, we change into the passive voice. So basically the subject, again the object in the active voice is the letter, and then it becomes the subject in the passive voice, which is the letter subject, and then we add verb to be because the letter is singular, and then we add the word going to be because it's the future going to be. Okay, going to be, we add the word for the future continuous, we add the word being. Right, same like the future continuous for will, we add the word being plus past participle. Okay, let's we see the answer. Okay, the first one is the letter become the subject, and then the is become the verb to be, going to be, and then we add the word being, and then we add the past participle for the writing is written. So written by the agent, which is Sarah. Okay, so far so good. Okay, if you don't understand, you can go back to the first one and then try to learn back and then try to understand it better. Okay, let's we move on. Okay, so the agent, we know that the agent before this is the agent is Tom, Sarah, right? In my example, like Tom, Sarah. Okay, so actually we can omit the agent when the first one is when the action interact us more than the agent. But in the exam, it will be better if you write the agent itself. Okay, so the next one is when we don't know the agent, like for example by somebody or by someone, or like that. We don't know who is the agent. So if you want to write, you can write, but if you want to omit, you can omit if we don't know the agent. And then the next one is when it's easy to figure out who the agent is. For example, the bank was robbed by somebody. This is, we don't know the agent, but we know that the bank was robbed. Then the robber must be the bad person. We know that either somebody or the robber. Okay, next one, English is spoken in Australia by people. Okay, so English is spoken in Australia. So basically the people there is spoken English, so we know that actual people spoken English. But for in my opinion, this is my opinion, okay? In my opinion, just put the agent in the sentence, okay, to make you less confused about it. Alright, so let's we move on. Okay, the next one. Okay, so if you still feel confused, you can pause the video and then you can take a look and then take a deep breath and then rest a while, because we are going to look the verbs with to object more. Alright, okay, the next one, we are going to learn with verbs with to object. Okay, basically some verb like give, offer, send, and etc. Some of the verb usually take to object in the active voice, which is the first one, we have the direct object, and then we have the indirect object, the person. Okay, so for example, we have here active voice, they offered Nia some flowers. So basically they have the one indirect object, which is the person, and then we have the direct object, sunflowers. How we want to know if it's a direct object or indirect object? So basically the first one, you know that the direct object is the thing, and then the indirect object is the person. And then take a look at the sentence again. They offered some flowers. They offered. Okay, so they offered some flowers. Even we don't have Nia, we know that they try to offer some flowers. Okay, so for the indirect object, and if the Nia doesn't there pun, is okay, but some sentence will be have the two objects. All right, so basically they offered Nia. So if we put the indirect object and then we don't put some flowers, we don't know that they offered Nia what, because indirect object will be refer to direct object also. So they offered Nia what, some flowers. Okay, understand? So but the direct object, if we don't put the Nia or the indirect object or the person, they can stand alone. So they offered some flowers. So that is the verb with two objects. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, how that is the way that you can change the verb from the active voice into the passive voice. The first one is you can use the first way, which is indirect object as a subject, and then you add a verb to be, and then you add past participle, then you add the direct object. Or you can change to the second one, which is you use the direct object as a subject, and then you add verb to be, and then you add past participle, and then you add the word to or for indirect object. So we take a look at the example. The first one, we take a look for the first way. All right, this is the first way, and then we have the second way. All right, so the first way, we take a look the formula. First one, indirect object as subject. So indirect object is Nia, because we know that Nia, if we put indirect object in the sentence and we don't put the direct object, they offered Nia what, we cannot they cannot stand alone. Okay, so basically the indirect object here is Nia. So Nia will be the subject in the passive voice. Okay, the next one is verb to be, was. Verb to be was, because we know that offered is past tense, so the verb to be must be in the past form. Okay, so the past form for verb to be is was, and then the past participle for the offered is offered also, and then sunflower. So the past participle and then direct object sunflowers. Okay, so from the day offered Nia sunflower, the first way you can change is Nia was offered some flowers. Okay, so that is the first one. How about the second way? This is only can be used if there is two objects in the active voice. Okay, indirect object and the direct object. Okay, so the second way is, let's we take a formula, direct object, and then verb to be, then past participle, and then the word to or for, and then indirect object. Okay, so let's we take a look. Okay, the first one we have direct object, which is some flowers, and then we add verb to be. Okay, why we use were? Because we look at the subject. Sorry. Okay, we take a look at the subject. So subject is the plural, so we use were, and because it's past tense, and then sunflowers is plural. Okay, this is verb to be. So, and then after verb to be, we add the past participle for offered, and the past participle for offered is offered, and then the words to or for, we can use to, either to or for, and then we add the indirect object, which is Nia, the person. Okay, so the answer will be some flowers were offered to Nia. Okay, that is the answer. Okay, this is the verb with two object. Okay, so I hope you can understand better, and then you can understand the explanation from me. Okay, so let's we move on. Okay, so let's recap. Okay, so today we have learned many things. The first one is passive voice. What is passive voice? What is active voice? And then we learn about passive, active, what is there. And then the second one we have how to change. Sorry. And then we learn how to change from active voice to passive voice. And then the last one, we learn how to change if the active voice have two objects, and then we change to passive voice. Right, so I think that is the lesson for today. Alright, so now you already know what is passive voice, right? So I hope you can take the great information from my video, and then the input to learn what is the passive voice about, and then how to use the passive voice. Okay, I think that's all from this video, and I hope you can learn something from this video, and I hope you can enjoy it. Thank you. Bye.